I've got a question for you. Is it possible to turn $200 into $2,000 in just a month? This was a question that I recently got, and I want to include you in the conversation that not only myself, but a handful of traders had as well on the subject. If you want to share your opinion, because we've gotten some really good ones, you can do so below in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube, or shoot me a message on social media, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. One thing I want to start off with today is a little rant. Usually we save these for later, but it was on my mind, and my memory's getting worse, so I don't want to forget it. But I was going through the YouTube comments yesterday under a few different videos, and many of you guys probably saw this on social media if you follow me. If you don't follow me on social media, at Akil Stokes RTM, watch out for the scammers. I haven't seen a lot lately, but I know they're out there. But I shared a comment under a video that said, or I guess the question said, Akil, how do I turn $200 into $2,000 in the next month? And I would love to hear your response. Believe it or not, I get this question multiple times a day. So I've gotten pretty clever at responding to it. My response was, buy a lottery ticket and pray. And then continue to buy lottery tickets for the remainder of the month and keep praying. And that is the best way you can turn $2,000 or $200 into $2,000 by the end of the month. And obviously we're having jokes here, a little sarcasm, but I got some comments after that. And believe it or not, right? Usually when you post something like this publicly, right? Because at least when I first started off, we're still this way, we're kind of balancing out here. Believe it or not, most of the internet, most of the public would probably think this is a realistic expectation. And you get the people that comment, oh, let me show you how to make $200 into $2,000 a month, or buy this system and it'll make, oh, last week, Mr. Marcus helped me make, right? You get all that dumb stuff. But there are actually some educated comments, which I guess is hats off to the community that we have out here in social media, the tribe that we build of good traders. And not to read through all of them, but a lot of them talked about either one, it is possible, but not probable, right? Would you guys agree with that? I don't like saying anything is impossible, right? It is definitely not impossible to make 200 to 2,000, right? You look at a few of the investment opportunities that are happening right now. There are plenty of people who have done that, right? The thing is, right, just because it's possible, is it consistent? And as Bobby says, is it sustainable? Because there's no point if it's not sustainable, right? I always look at the same situation as like a signal service, right? Where it's like, all right, if you find a signal service and the signal service is making money and you're just following everything this signal service does, and then this signal, and you quit your job because you're making money hand over fist, and then one day this signal service decides to stop doing it, what happens to you? Are you in a position where your wealth is sustainable? And the answer is no, because you're dependent on someone else. The same thing can happen in trading, right? We all have hot months. We all can get lucky on trades. But can we consistently produce it? Because if you're going to make any strides in your life, if you're going to quit your job or reduce hours at your job or do this or do that, you're going to need something that is consistent. You're going to need something that is sustainable. And it reminded me, I had this quote scheduled. I do quote of the days every, Tuesday and Thursday. And I had a quote scheduled today, and it came out. It said, on the quote was, any news provides the perfect excuse to manipulate the market. Nothing is exempt. And that's a whole other discussion about the war right now and the people that are making money behind it. But the quote that I put with it, or a comment I put with it, caption, I guess, I said, early on in my career, I hit on the right side of the NFP, right? The non-farm payrolls. It's coming out this Friday, by the way. Then I had the bright idea of reading some articles, only trading once a month, as I was confident in my ability to simply research the number and anticipate the result. This was one of my dumbest moments. So essentially what I was saying, guys, is that I got lucky early on in my career hitting on a non-farm payroll. I didn't even know it was a non-farm payroll. right? I was just in a random position in a random direction, and the market sprouted up, and I researched later that it was a non-farm payroll. That's how I learned what it was. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to trade once a month. I'm going to travel the world in my private yacht. I'm going to... I was watching the thing on Russian oligarchs earlier, so I got yachts on the mind. I was going to travel the world in my private yacht. I'm going to trade once a month for about like 30 minutes a day, right? Non-farms, smoke and whatever. And then go back to my luxurious lifestyle. And it's a perfect example of someone that can make a massive return on one day, get overconfident, and then never be able to replicate it. You don't want to buy Chelsea. Well, hey, you know what? It's available now, maybe. We've got the American on there, Captain America. You never know. I don't know if he'll be there for long, but maybe. That's an interesting one, Orsi. Nice. Yeah, it is possible. It's not probable. But the thing is that went on with the comments, and we were, and I felt kind of bad because like I usually don't, I shared it real quickly yesterday. I didn't take the time like to black out the name. And I don't like embarrassing people, stuff like that, because it wasn't I don't think it was a dumb comment. Like he wasn't making fun of me or anything like that. But someone brought up a good point and said, the problem with this comment, the biggest problem with this comment, right, isn't the fact that the trader is asking it. What do you think the biggest problem is? What's the bigger problem than the fact that the trader's asking, hey, how do I turn 200 into 2,000? And again, I don't know if it's a serious question or you never know the trader's background. But yeah, the biggest problem is that this trader is not alone in thinking that this is realistic. Right? The mindset, the unreal expectation. And that's what we're being sold and lied to all over the place. Everywhere we go, we're being sold that this magic system will help me do this. Or that this is how many returns I had. I was prepping the YouTube live stream, and one of my videos popped up and some ad came up about some guy inviting me into his trading room, and he walked in the door and there were all these monitors and he told me how he made this much money. And I almost signed up because I was like, ooh, I want to make it too. Right? It's the fact that we're being sold this. And it's not necessarily the trader's fault that he believes it. Because guess what, right? We know about the 4 stages of trading, right? Number 1 is unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. It's the baby stage, where, right, a baby doesn't know not to touch the hot stove because she's never experienced touching the hot stove before. So you don't know what it does. Like, ooh, it's red. That's a cool color. Let me touch it. And then you burn your hand, right? So traders that are coming into this industry that are in that unconscious incompetent stage, they don't know what they don't know. So when they immediately get blasted with all these ads and all these people saying this, why would you not believe it? Now, again, some of us have, I guess the comeback for that is, well, if you're financially educated, right, you would never believe that, right? If you understand how money and investing and how wealth works, you wouldn't fall for a trick that says, hey, I can turn 200 to 2,000 in a month, like every month. But that goes to the even bigger problem. How many of us are financially educated? Not many. So we don't even know to identify the stuff that isn't real. And then we get suckered into it. We have false expectations, and these false expectations do one of 2 things. One, we fall victim to some type of scam that's out there. We fall victim to the fake Akil, right? Shaquille Stokes RTM that's promising to manage their account and make them all these riches, and they send them a check blindly to some address in Africa or India somewhere, right? And they lose money that way. Or, and this is the one that hurts me the most, or you see a trader with the skills, they are successful, they've got something that works, and they bail on it because they think it's a failing strategy because it doesn't produce the 1,000% return that the internet tells them they should produce. Those are the ones that hurt me. The ones where traders are doing the right thing and they just give up because they're not making, quote unquote, enough or what they should be making or as much as the next guy. So it's tough. It's tough. That's one of the reasons I got an education in the first place. And it's getting better now, but was to kind of change this tide because I was hit with the same thing. Now, again, fortunately enough, I had a good, I still thought I could make money quick in trading. Don't get me wrong. That's why I went from the stock market to Forex, because the promises were that I can make money a lot quicker. I had somewhat realistic expectations, like, only doubling my account a month, not quadrupling it, right? Simple goals like doubling it, right? But one of my goals was to kind of change the landscape and just like flush out reality, the realistic expectations. And I think we've done a good job of that, but you can see it's still out there. So it was an interesting subject. But again, my answer: how do you turn 200 into 2,000 by next month? Lottery ticket and church. Here we go. All right, that's my rant to start things. Now let's get into some chart work. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever it is you need to do to show your support for the show. We've been growing this thing over the past, I don't know how many years now, past 600 plus episodes, and it's just amazing that we continue to come up with really good content, and it's all because you guys are sharing the show. We're getting feedback, we're getting questions and comments from other traders, and that is creating brand new, fresh content for the Trading Coach podcast. So I appreciate the support, but don't stop, keep it up. That way we can keep growing the show and you can keep growing as a trader.